Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Teen girl hospitalized with gunshot wound to the head. A Rockford teenager is now hospitalized after she was rushed for medical treatment Thursday with a gunshot wound to her head. The police said they received a report about 4:48 p.m. regarding the shooting incident in the Warwick Road area. Reporters understand that the teen is now in a stable condition, and doctors are monitoring a swelling to determine if they can perform an emergency surgery. Information reaching reporters is that a female relative was allegedly playing with the firearm when a round was discharged. The police say nobody has been arrested and the firearm has not been recovered. 4 prisoners escape Ochoa's lockup. A manhunt is underway for 4 prisoners who escaped from the Ochoa's police lockup in St. Ann on Friday. Reports are that about 1 a.m., police officers on duty performed routine cell checks. Shortly after, sounds were heard coming from the direction of the cells, and the police went to investigate. An alarm was raised when 4 prisoners were discovered missing from their cells. The police stated that preliminary investigations indicated that implements were made to use sections of the metal gate of the cell allow the prisoners to escape. The escapees are 40-year-old Terence Harrell of Claremont St. Anne. He is charged with shooting with intent. 42-year-old Dennis Colburn of Islington St. Mary. He is charged for rape. Javar Grant, 22, of Paris St. Anne. He is charged for illegal possession of firearm. And 30-year-old Jermaine Rogers of Mile End in Ocho Royal, St. Anne. He is charged with illegal possession of firearm. Residents of Ocho Royals and the surrounding communities are urged to be on the lookout for any strangers in their community. Persons who see suspicious activities are encouraged to call the Ocho Royals police at 876-974-2469, the police 119 emergency number, or Crime Stop at 311. Third monkeypox case confirmed in Jamaica. There is a third case of monkeypox in Jamaica. This was confirmed by Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton on Friday. Dr. Tufton says the person contracted the virus locally. This individual has not traveled. They have no travel history and clearly contracted the virus from someone who had the virus here, he told journalists at a ceremony to make the resumption of construction work on the Western Children and Adolescent Hospital in St. James. He said the local transmitted case changes the complexion of the challenge that we face, but the ministry had anticipated that local transmission of the virus would begin sooner or later. The affected individual is quarantined at home. Monday, August 8 will not be observed as a public holiday. The Ministry of Labor and Social Security is advising members of the public that Monday, August 8 will not be observed as a public holiday. The ministry's advisory comes as questions arose as to whether Independence Day, which will fall on Saturday, August 6, would be celebrated on the following Monday. But in a media release, the Labour Ministry says Section 2 of the Holidays Public General Act provides that Independence Day should only be celebrated on the following Monday when it falls on a Sunday. As the holiday will be on a Saturday for this year's Diamond Jubilee, the ministry says Monday, August 8 will be a normal working day. Murder suspected in Clarendon farmer's death. Shock and disbelief now hangs over the community of Springfield in rural Clarendon after an elderly man was found dead at his home. Murder is suspected. The body of 79-year-old farmer Lansford Henry was discovered about 2:50 p.m. on Wednesday after a relative who noticed a change in his routine went in search of him. Matthew Chambers, who said his uncle always visits his farm early in the morning, thinks thieves may have had something to do with his death. Animals are missing from his farm. I can't say exactly what happened, but I think the ram goat may be the cause of it, he told reporters on Thursday. The country turned upside down. Imagine you work all your life and retire and enjoy yourself that the time people are going to come just take your life and all you have. I have a lot of uncles, but he's my best uncle. The whole community he responds for. He no deserve this death, added Chambers. According to Counsel Colin Henry, Thompson Town Division GLP, it is alleged that hoodlums broke into the elderly man's house prior to his death. The police are doing their investigation into this suspected case of murder. It's a community that we're seeking to build, and this is something we don't want in this area. He's a hard-working farmer, and I know Deacon in the community. The community is saddened by this act, and it's a sad day for Jamaica when persons can kill an elderly man like this who is in church and a church deacon. Henry said support will be provided to the grieving family. We are seeking to build this community as we have had major investment recently from JSIF through partnership, MPs Philip Henriquez, Robert Morgan, and Councillor Herschel Brown. I am calling on the citizens to reach out to the police if you have any information on this case, pleaded Henry. The more she licked me, the more stubborn me get. Saying being beaten as a child only made her more obstinate, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives Juliet Holness has once again come out strongly against corporal punishment. My mother used to beat me, I don't know why. I was the eldest and she used to put some lick on me. It wasn't necessary because the more she licked me, the more stubborn me get. And because of it, I don't beat my children. My husband, no beating, let's sit and talk about it. And now we are happy and proud of who our children have become, she said. Holness, the wife of Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Member of Parliament for St. Andrew East Rural, was speaking at the Mount Clare Baptist Church in St. James on Wednesday during an awards ceremony for students who did well in the primary exit profile exams. She said she has been speaking out against corporal punishment since 2016. She encouraged adults to find other ways of modifying unruly behavior of children in their care, such as withholding items they like. My little brother used to say, "Beat me, mommy, beat me," because my mother finally got to the place where she understood that taking away what you like was better than beating you, she added. The Prime Minister has also spoken out against corporal punishment in the past and has indicated that the government is working on measures to bring a ban against that activity. These efforts have received the endorsement of several child protection agencies, including the United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF, which has long sought to encourage Jamaican parents not to beat their children. In a starting survey which was done in 2019 and released earlier this year, respondents were questioned on their use of the forms of discipline. The data showed that within the corporal punishment category, slapping was found to be the most commonly used form, with 65% of children getting slapped when they were deemed to have misbehaved. A further 24% of children reported beaten with an implement, while 13% were pinched as a form of punishment. The data also showed that under the non-corporal punishment category, talking about why the action was wrong was the highest method of 64%, reason at 55%, removing privileges at 40%, time out at 26%, and ignoring the assumed misdeed at 24%. The psychological aggression method showed that quarreling shouting was at 49%, denying food just under 1%, and swearing cursing at 13%. MP of North Central St. Catherine is supporting calls for Wendalco's backside plant to be shuttered. Member of Parliament for North Central St. Catherine, Natalie Nita Garvey, is supporting calls for Wendalco's backside plant to be shuttered until it can properly manage its effluent. Nita Garvey says that regard is being given to those affected by the environmental impact of its spill.
It is allowed to happen again and again, with little regard or no regard to the people who live along the river Cobry, who utilize this river, who have this as their source of income, whose health is being placed at risk every year, every day, every year. And without us really knowing what the impact is of this caustic soda in the water. That truly their license should be suspended until there is a solution to have this overflow placed in a containment tank that is going to allow for the people along the river to have this, to be free of this kind of spill. At which point we really don't know what goes on in that water. We really don't know how it is affecting the people. And so I'm saying all these years, NEPA would have known that it was untenable. And so whatever they would have asked Windalco to do as a redress was not done. They did not comply. Of late, they're telling us that they're now building a new storage containment area, and I was told that that is not going to be completed until the end of this year. That's somewhere in the region of November, December. The unequal treatment of those at the top and those at the bottom. When small communities, small farming communities, small fishing communities, these things happen time and time again. And we speak about it and then we drop it and nobody else seems to care, right? Mm-hmm. If it's garbage disposal, it's the same thing. If it is a light post falling down, it's the same thing. They can't call and get services They have to be calling their MP to just get the basic things done, things that are taken for granted in other communities above a certain place. And I'm saying that at this point, to be poor, and they say it every day, to be poor is a crime.
The National Water Commission (NWC) says the water quality of the Rio Cobre remains below the standard used to service customers. That's according to NWC's Corporate Communications Manager, Andrew Cannon.
We would have done some testing earlier today. We test daily. And based on what we are seeing of those tests, we are not going to be using the water from the Rio Cobre.
Oh, dear. So things are not back yet to where they ought to be, so you could be confident.
Things are not back to normal. Things are not where they should be. And we are not yet at this stage at a level where we can use the water from the Rio Cobre. We have been forced to take water now from the eastern headworks system to not only serve the areas that would have been served by that Spanish Town treatment plant, but it's also impacting some of our customers in Kingston and St. Andrew. And the impact would have been low water pressure. Also, that eastern headworks system, it really serves parts of Kingston and parts of Portmore. So normally from the eastern headworks system, if we never had what we're having now with the Spanish Town treatment plant, we would be treating and sending out about 4 million gallons, but now we're only doing 2.5 million gallons, and we would have been serving Portmore with 6.5 million gallons daily. But because of this balancing act, we now have to be giving them 3.4 million gallons. In one word, the impact would have been challenging because that Spanish Town treatment plant is very important to the service or the provision of water to a number of communities in and around St. Catherine and, and other parts as well. The water that we get from the Rio Cobre that serves the Spanish Town treatment plant, normally we would have been treating some 3.2 to 3.5 million gallons of water daily from the Rio Cobre that would have flowed to our intake at Damhead. Now we're doing absolutely no treatment as a result.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.